In the last seasons of Formula One, the battle for aerodynamic balance has been as intense as the disputes on the track. The FIA, always attentive to the manoeuvres of the teams to maximise the performance of their cars within the limits of the regulation, has been reinforcing the deflection tests of the rear wings and more recently the front ones. The goal? To ensure that no team would take excessive advantage of the flexibility of these pieces, something that has already generated controversy in the past. At the heart of this issue is the phenomenon of aeroelasticity, a resource exploited to adjust the performance of cars in different racing conditions. The problem, however, is that some teams have started to test the limits of deflection allowed by the rules. The FIA initially believed that its static tests would be sufficient to keep the practice under control, but in the face of a flood of complaints among their own, the body decided to act more rigidly in order to prevent the flattening of the wings from becoming a new subject of controversy in 2025. The first step was to restrict rear wing bending, something that had already been under observation since McLaren's famous Mini DRS in Baku last year. With stricter tolerance since the start of this season, the FIA, however, realised that the initial measures were not enough. During pre-season testing in Bahrain, car-mounted cameras revealed that some teams were still exploiting the flexibility of the wings to gain an advantage. Thus, a new technical guideline was implemented before the China GP, further tightening the limits. Nicholas Tombazis, head of the FIA's monopoles, explained in Shanghai that the decision was made to avoid a long battle of speculation, complaints and photographic analysis that could drag on the issue throughout the season. According to him, 4 or 5 teams were affected by the new tests, including Alpine and Ferrari, while McLaren, despite suspicions, denied having made changes to the rear wing. Haas also entered the list of teams that needed to make adjustments. The question now is, will this new approach be enough to end the saga of flexible wings? Tombazis was cautious in answering, "Confident is a very strong word, but I hope it will be enough. We can further reduce tolerance if necessary and continue to monitor the DRS to ensure that there are no abuses," he said. For him, the complexity of this phenomenon requires constant surveillance and the continuous use of cameras to check whether teams are complying with the rules. Meanwhile, the next major change in regulation should focus on the front wings, with more stringent tests planned for the Spanish GP in Barcelona. The postponement of the implementation of this rule generated divided opinions in the paddock. Some teams complained that the decision allowed certain teams to continue exploring this flexibility for a few more races, while others considered positive the extra time for adaptation without having to discard already developed projects. The truth is that, as always happens in Formula One, there is no solution that pleases everyone. As Tombazis said, it's extremely difficult to cut the cake so that everyone gets exactly the same size. But what do you think of this new controversy? Is the FIA managing to balance the regulation, or will teams always find new ways to circumvent the rules? Leave your opinion in the comments and take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel for more exclusive news from the world of Formula One.